Our lives are so busy. Whether it's school, or our jobs, or our family responsibilities, or the house chores, or our pets, or doctor's appointments, or community activities, or church activities, or social activities, or the list is never ending. And it can be overwhelming. We are not the only generation to have felt this way. Jesus could certainly identify with a hectic schedule. In the chapters that led up to today's reading, Jesus called the disciples, he taught the disciples, he sent them out to do the work he was doing. When they came back, he gathered them all together on a retreat and listened to them process all that they had done. But Jesus also was traveling then too, by foot, to preach to thousands. He taught about the kingdom of God. He healed the sick. He fed 5,000. He comforted the lonely. He gave hope to the downcast. And he faced his own future suffering and death. Sounds like a pretty full schedule to me. Jesus and those disciples knew about crazy, hectic, busy times. You know, when our lives get so busy, it is very, very dangerous. We risk losing touch with who we really are and what we are doing. If we even have a moment to think about what we're doing, we risk slowly coming apart at the seams. Our perception of who we are and what we are called to do becomes defined by the outside, by the next thing demanding our attention, rather than from who God says we are and what God would have us do. Confusion takes over when we get really busy, and we just get stuck in a cycle of question after question after question. Am I doing what's best or not? Should I get angry and talk about it, or should I just let it go? Should I be more strict? Should I be more lenient? Should I change jobs, go back to school, or stay put? What am I supposed to do with my life? Who am I? Am I any good? Can I make a difference in this world, in this church, in this family, in this job? With his hectic schedule, Jesus also faced the danger of becoming confused. But he had a way to deal with it, a way that helped him to stay grounded and follow who he was and what he was here to do. So what was his trick? What was it that he knew that we so desperately need to know? Well, in Luke's version of the Transfiguration, it says, Jesus took with him Peter, James, and John, and they went up to a mountain to pray. In the midst of a busy, hectic, crazy lifestyle, Jesus took a retreat. He drew back to pause, to pray, and to listen. And in doing so, he was reminded of who he was and what his mission was. He gained his Father's, God's perspective. No wonder Peter exclaimed, "Lord, it is good that we are here." Yeah, it was. Throughout all the Gospels, we see a pattern emerge with Jesus. Whenever Jesus needed clarity or assurance about who he was and what he was supposed to do, he retreated. He paused. He prayed. And he listened. And whenever Jesus took time to pause, to pray, to listen, God reminded him of how loved he was and showed him how to move forward. I'm hoping I don't even have to say it. You're making the connection right here, right now, that maybe this is something we could try. Here's a story that might help this make it a little bit clearer for you. There were 3 women who went picking berries on a mountainside. And when their containers got filled with fruit, they were ready to go back to the car. But where was the car? Trees and brush and the rise and fall of the mountain blocked their view. Plus, they knew they had wandered very far from where the car was parked. Finally, they came to a huge rock jutting out from the side of the mountain. And as the 3 women climbed onto this jagged rock, they were able to see above all the trees and the brush. And sure enough, they saw the car, like an itty-bitty tiny toy, about a mile below them. So taking careful note of where they were in relation to the car, in relation to the mountain, they started walking the long way back without a fear amongst them. Although they could not see the car as they walked, although the brush and the stones made the hike a little challenging, although their pails of fruit was getting heavy, they had remembered what they had seen on the mountaintop, and they just continued hiking without fear and without complaint. Transfiguration is just like this, both for Jesus and for his disciples. As Jesus struggled on that walk to the cross, no doubt he would reflect back on this day, and he would remember his Father's loving and encouraging words. "This is my beloved Son, with whom I am well pleased." It gave Jesus clarity as to who he was and the power he held. And no doubt those disciples remembered this day as well. You heard Peggy read out of 2 Peter. That's Peter reporting back this very experience. The memory of that day was a great help as they faced confusion and challenges on how to live out Jesus' ministry. That day reminded them of who they were and what they had been empowered to accomplish. Do you feel overwhelmed at times? Are you confused at all about your meaning and purpose in life? Take a little time with Jesus. Get away. Pause. Pray. Listen. Hear God tell you how precious and loved that you are. Then feel empowered, feel confident to accomplish all that you are to accomplish in your lifetime. May it be so for you and for me. Amen.